What if the greatest mystery in Christianity is not about angels, demons, or hidden gospels, but about God? It is a mystery so profound that even the brightest theologians have admitted this truth cannot be fully grasped. It is the incredible paradox of one God, who somehow exists in three distinct and co-equal persons. But here is the haunting question: how can three be one, and how can one also be three? Is this a contradiction, or is it the deepest secret of the divine nature that we must accept? For centuries, armies marched, councils gathered, and entire empires fractured over this one very important question. Was Jesus simply a man, or was he God himself who was living in the form of human flesh? At the very core of the Christian faith lies a riddle that feels completely impossible for us to solve. Imagine the scene in 325 AD, as bishops from across the known world gathered in the city of Nicaea. The air was heavy with tension, for this was no casual debate, but a war of powerful ideas. Arius, a priest, argued that Jesus is not eternal, not truly divine, but was instead a created being. Others countered, insisting Christ is of one substance with the Father, which became a very heated argument. Because what they were fighting over was no minor detail. It was the heart of the great mystery. And yet, this debate was not new, because the seeds of the Trinity were already woven into Scripture. Look closely at Genesis. Let us make man in our image, a phrase that uses plural words. Again and again, the text whispers of a plurality that exists within the unity of the one God. Could it be that the Trinity was never invented? It was always there, hidden in plain sight for us. But here's where the mystery deepens, because in the New Testament, Jesus himself prays to the Father. He promises to send the Spirit to his followers, and yet he also says, "I and the Father are one." How can he be both distinct from the Father and yet also be completely one with him at the same time? And maybe that's the point. The Trinity is not a puzzle to be solved, but a revelation to be entered. Because if God were only one person, love could not exist in eternity, since love requires a relationship. The Father loves the Son loves the Father, and the Spirit is the bond of love. In this eternal exchange, God is not a solitary being, but is instead a true communion of love. But here's the shocking twist. Every time you pray, every time you breathe in faith, you step into this mystery. You are not speaking to a distant deity. You are caught up into the very life of the Trinity. You speak to the Father, through the Son, in the power of the Spirit, whether you realize it or not. And yet, across history, countless heresies have tried to simplify this profound and complicated mystery for the people. Some said God is one person who appears in three modes, like a single actor wearing different masks. But that idea completely collapses the love, the relationship, and the eternal exchange that is so very important. Again and again, the Church returned to the same truth: three persons, one essence, distinct yet indivisible. But think about it. Why would God choose to reveal himself to us in this very confusing way? Why would he choose to cloak his identity in paradox, stretching our logic to its absolute breaking point? Perhaps because human language, bound by time and matter, simply cannot contain the infinite reality of who God is. And perhaps because the Trinity is not meant to be explained to us, but is meant to be experienced. And here's the part that should leave you trembling. The Trinity is not just about who God is. It is about who you are meant to be, because you are made in the image of God. If God is communion, then you were created for relationship, not isolation, and created to love and give. So let's return to the question, who really is God? The answer is a truly staggering and amazing one. He is the Father, the source of all. He is the Son, the Word made flesh, who entered time. He is the Spirit, the breath of God, who moves within creation and who also moves within all of you. Not three gods and not one God who pretends to be three, but one God in three persons. And here's the final revelation. The Trinity is not a doctrine locked away in dusty and old theology books. It is an invitation into a relationship with a God whose very nature is love poured out in harmony. To step into this mystery is to be drawn into the eternal embrace of the Father, Son, and Spirit. So I'll ask you, what if the deepest mystery of Christianity isn't meant to be solved, but lived? What if the Trinity is not a riddle at all, but the doorway into understanding who God really is? And if that question shook something in you, if it stirred awe, curiosity, or even some form of confusion, don't let it end here, like this video, and share it with someone who dares to wrestle with mysteries. And subscribe, because we're only beginning to uncover the hidden truths buried deep in the ancient Holy Scripture. The Trinity is not the end of the mystery for all of us. It is only the beginning.